Joining us now, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He led today's hearing, did a phenomenal job. And I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, you and the Attorney General get 1,000. That list that you went down, that's the headline. Right. This is over. He's not changing his mind. And this is all beginning.
Well, to all my friends on the other side, we gave Mueller 2 years to do his job. He had 19 lawyers. He had $25 million. He interviewed 500 people. He issued 2,000 subpoenas. He had plenty of opportunity without interference. The president gave him 1.5 million documents. Everybody around the president and on the president's campaign testified voluntarily. And here's what we know. There was no conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russians at all. The Mueller could not decide, chose not to press forward on obstruction. I always thought the obstruction argument was absurd. It is over. And the reason they're mad at Barr and me is because they didn't get the outcome they want. My friends on the other side want an outcome, and they don't care how they get it.
You know, Senator, I've known you a long time. I want you to delve into that line of questioning that I played, where you went down your list. FISA abuse, the rigged criminal investigation into Hillary. It was all rigged. She did violate the Espionage Act, 18 U.S.C. 793. There was classified top secret information on that server. She had an intent by deletions, bleach bit, and hammers and pulling SIM cards. The intent was to destroy the evidence. The very thing, that would be obstruction, which the very thing liberals are acting like they care about, that would be a slam dunk obstruction case to me. What are your thoughts?
Well, what I tried to show was that when it came to the Trump campaign, we had Bob Mueller, one of the most experienced lawyers, former FBI director, take 2 years, $25 million, 19 lawyers. Everybody in the country believed he was a fair-minded guy, and he reached a conclusion that the left doesn't like. But the verdict is in for Mueller: no collusion, no obstruction. Now, what I tried to show the public was that when it came to Clinton's email investigation, there was no Bob Muellers involved. There was Strzok and Page, who hated Trump's guts, wanted her to win $100 million to nothing. I want the public to know that the FISA warrant obtained against Carter Page was based on garbage collected by a foreign agent paid for by the Democratic Party that is unverified to this day. And I want to find out, did they open up a counterintelligence investigation against President Trump for bad motives? And we're going to get the answers to all those questions.
You know, I think this is very important as well. Okay, so the issue of finding out whether they rigged the Clinton investigation. Right. By the way, is that the same time kind of interesting? Where did this originate, this crossfire hurricane? Important questions. Let's talk about the FISA abuse. We're now, the New York Times suggesting it might have all been paid for Russian disinformation. Wow, that's a big deal. More importantly, do you believe, as I do, that a fraud was committed on the FISA court in the FISA applications? I read something, it was called the Sen.Graham memo that said the bulk of information in the FISA applications was the paid-for dossier that might be Russian disinformation. Is that true, sir?
Well, here's what I know that McCabe said that without the dossier, there'd be no warrant. I know to this day that there is no verification of the dossier. There's literally a bunch of garbage, and people certified to the court that it was reliable. I know that Comey, the FBI director, after President Trump was elected, gave him the same dossier and told the president, we can't verify it, we just want you to know about it. That doesn't add up. We're going to look at all that, but here's what I do know. Nobody cares on the other side what the FBI did or didn't do when it comes to Clinton. They don't care what they did or didn't do when it comes to Trump. They're trying to destroy his presidency. From their point of view, the rule of law is a tool to get an outcome. From my point of view, the rule of law protects us all, including President Trump, including Republicans.
You know something, Senator? You were there with the Kavanaugh. I thought you had one of your finest moments as a senator in the Kavanaugh hearings. It was interesting. There were a lot of I believers on the most outrageous allegation. We have serious allegations now about the the lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, rape and violent sexual assault by 2 women. I don't hear the I believers. I say that if Donald Trump cured cancer, gave every American $5 million tonight, and adopted the liberal agenda, they'd still hate him. Am I wrong?
Well, no, you're right, and it's sad because bipartisanship in their world is to be nice to their people, vote for their judges, sit on the sidelines when they destroy a Trump judge. To give Mueller the space to do his job is not enough. When Mueller gives an answer they don't like, you destroy Bill Barr. Bill Barr is a fine man. He will sleep well tonight. His critics are the problem, not him.
All right, Senator, thanks for being with us.
MSNBC, if you're watching today, you may have noticed, could not contain its excitement during the Attorney General's testimony. During the hearing, Senator Lindsey Graham noted quite correctly that Mueller's report found no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. Brian Williams wouldn't have it, though. He cut in to call Graham a liar.
So what have we learned from this report? After all this time and all this money, Mr. Mueller and his team concluded there was no collusion. If there's no underlying crime...
We're reluctant to do this. We rarely do. But the chairman of the Judiciary Committee just said that Mueller found there was no collusion. That is not correct. That phrase, or the lack of it, its absence from federal code, this no collusion mantra, is so foundational to why we're here today that we decided to flag it when we heard him use it yet again. Back into the chairman and the committee room.
Yeah, it's another fact check from a guy suspended for lying. Don't want to be mean, nice guy, but please get some self-awareness. It wasn't the only time something like that happened, though, today. An hour later, they cut away again to say that Barr was a big fat liar, too. Watch this.
So much has been said here and placed on the record by the Attorney General that, starting with Nicole Wallace, we want to correct some of the record against, of all things, what it says in the Mueller report. Nicole.
So I'm not going to dance around this. He's lying. He's lying about what the Mueller report finds around one of the critical flashpoints in the obstruction investigation.
When you're turning to Nicole Wallace as a fact checker, you've gone all the way. Joe Concha writes about media for The Hill, and he joins us tonight. I mean, I've always liked Brian Williams. He's very funny, actually, and it's always nice every time I've dealt with him, but he's gone full MSNBC. I mean, he used to be like an NBC News guy. He still has the voice, but, like, this is pathetic, right?
Conforming to the hive, Tucker. And look, I'm a Jersey guy. He grew up in Manasquan down the Jersey Shore. I go there all the time. He is a nice guy by all accounts.
I agree.
But yeah, the environment that he's in, he realizes that he has to give his audience comfort food, what they want to hear at this point. And the scary part about that is that he could just pivot into being what he's become now, which is completely and totally partisan. Remember, he was the anchor of the NBC Nightly News for many, many years. And he's gone the full Dan Rather, I would say. Rather was the evening anchor news for CBS from, I believe, 1982 to 2005. And these guys were people that you trusted because there they are, CBS, NBC, giving you the news. And now, instead, they've gone completely and totally to one side, to the left, and they've destroyed their legacies in the process, unfortunately.
But what's so weird is to see Nicole Wallace, who's never been a journalist, and I mean that despite the glasses routine, this thing where they do this. Well, Brian, let me put on the glasses, the readers. She's been a flack. I mean, I met her when she was Jeb Bush's flack, and she's always been like someone who spins on behalf of politicians. So how is she being referred to? How is she being used as like a source of truth? It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, if I'm MSNBC in that situation, I would use like a Pete Williams, who I think is an excellent journalist.
Exactly.
And let's go to him for a fact check instead. But what we're seeing here, particularly on the other cable networks, is putting in Republicans, people that are conservatives, whether that be Nicole Wallace or an Anna Navarro, and they just go more than sometimes Democrats or liberals going completely and totally anti-Trump to give this perception that somehow even Republicans are turning against the president. And then you look at Gallup polling and shows that loyalty to this president is around 90% within his party. But the perception that the cable news networks are trying to give on CNN and MSNBC is that, no, everybody's turning against this guy because he's that bad.
So what you're describing is really a political campaign where every segment is sort of plotted out as a propaganda show in order to deliver a message that's totally disconnected from what's real.
It seems that way if you believe polling, and then you see what's on television. They're two disconnected things completely. Just like this constant obsession with collusion is something that the American people almost didn't care about. And every poll you saw leading up to the Mueller report, that was completely and totally true. So, yeah, that's the whole ballgame here, Tucker, that collusion wasn't proven here. You have Brian Williams saying, oh, no, it wasn't. And now the collusion that they're trying to prove is between President Trump and Bill Barr and Rod Rosenstein. Bill Barr worked for George H.W. Bush. At last check, the Bushes don't like the Trumps like the Hatfields don't like the McCoys, and the Ewings don't like the Barneses. So to think that he suddenly decided to throw away his career for this guy that he barely knew before he took over in some sort of conspiracy. Same with Rosenstein, who was willing to wear a wire to evoke the 25th Amendment, reportedly. It's just so ridiculous. That's the conspiracy theories that are out there. Tucker?
So we've got 10 seconds left. Totally sincere question. Do I look more credible if I pause and use my CVS readers in the middle of this? Should I do this regularly like Nicole Wallace, or no?
Oh, glasses add 15 points to your IQ and 15,000 to your bank account. So yeah, absolutely. I do it when I was single.
You're a wise man, Joe Concha. Thank you. And that's a fact, not an opinion.